everybody. Good morning. Scott Klatskin with AT&T. I lead consumer wireless media for the brand, strategy, planning, execution, measurement. Get to oversee our prepaid products, our postpaid products, and all things cricket. And also, be remiss if I didn't mention, I am a Canvas alumni. One of the first employees who helped start Canvas a long, long time ago. Got to work with Paul Wilmington, Christy Lynn, Aaron, the whole crew here. So it is good to be home and back with the Canvas community. Thanks for having me.
We're going to make this a little fun today for you guys before we go into the break. So we're going to give you some stuff that's entertaining, that's memorable, that's relatable. So let's talk AT&T and sports. So Scott, tell us about AT&T and your approach to sports marketing as a fundamental strategy.
Sure. So everybody in here, have you heard of AT&T? Who here knows what we stand for? Exactly right. That is our biggest challenge. Right? I mean, everybody knows AT&T. The majority of this room either has had the product or service before, or at least have friends who have had the product or service before. We have gone through a remarkable amount of transformation in the last 6 years. If you look at what our brand is today versus where we've been 6 years ago, we are both very recognizable and completely unrecognizable. So we recognize that. In the last 2 years, we spent a lot of time talking to our employees, talking to our customers, looking into the market to determine what do we stand for, what do we believe in, and not necessarily redefining the brand. We don't need to redefine ourselves, but we need to reinvent ourselves a bit to be our current form of who we are. So what we have done, a year ago, we launched what we call AT&T Purpose. Similar to Eric Watson talking about Kia and Kia's brand purpose, we really spent time to determine why we exist as a company, and we have never been more focused. Our core focus is to connect our customers through our 5G and fiber products to the things, the entertainment, the content, and the people that they love. It's really that simple because we believe connecting changes everything. So we have this massive company, this amazing portfolio of products and technology. And it really just comes down to that core sentiment. We believe connecting changes everything. So to that point, it's the best place to connect with people is when they are loving content and they are fans. Sports marketing is a huge pillar of what we do as an organization, not just because of reach and scale and all the obvious things, but we really believe that if we as AT&T provide value and are relevant in a sports environment, people pay attention, they care, they listen to us, they're open to hearing what we have to offer and say, and ultimately we want to be additive to the experience. So as we think about our core marketing calendar for the year, which is always a jigsaw puzzle, we have key moments that matter just to AT&T. We have great partners with Samsung and Google and Apple to help launch their devices. And we use those moments in culture that matter to us to tell our stories. If you look at all the moments in culture that matter, a lot of those moments are sports. So in just the first 5 months out of this year, we have a marketing calendar that I would argue is equal parts amazing and exhausting. We launched at the beginning of the year with the College Football Championship presented by AT&T the first week of January. That rolls into the NBA All-Star Game with AT&T Slam Dunk, right into AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, into March Madness, into the launch of WNBA Tip-Off, MLS, and obviously everything we do with our partners in the NBA on the Eastern Conference and Western Conference Finals. The only reason I say that is we have so many opportunities to connect with different fans in different communities. It is our job to make sure when AT&T shows up, we're consistent, we're relevant, and once again, providing value to that experience. Our goal is not to run TV ads and social ads to interrupt the experience. That's a part of what we do, but we're really thoughtful about how we try and bring our brand and bring our products to life in a sports environment. So a couple of easy examples of what we get excited about. A lot of the work we've seen has said fans want behind-the-scenes content and insights. 5 years ago, that meant we would do red carpets, we'd interview athletes, we'd do all those kind of basic things. That was fine, that was right. We've evolved that to actually use our products and technology to enhance the fan experience. So at the College Football Championship game, if anybody watched here, there was actually ref cams. We had a camera on the referee that was powered by AT&T 5G in the stands, so you could actually see what that referee was calling and what his eyesight was during each of those plays. It's kind of cool, right? So fans actually got something because AT&T was part of that experience. Same thing in the NBA. We invest a lot of money with our partners in the NBA, truly one of our best partners. We bring AT&T above the rim cams to our different experiences. So there's a killer dunk, a big rebound, a big block. That aerial view that sits on top of the backboard is powered by AT&T 5G. So once again, it's bringing our products and services to life through the lens of what a fan actually wants versus us just advertising all our products and messages to them. So at that point in the NBA, let's talk NBA for a minute. Huge partners in the NBA, huge partners at WNBA. Big proponents of what they do. So this idea of trying to be additive to that experience once again. If anybody here was around in the All-Star game in Salt Lake, did anybody watch the All-Star game? Anybody watch AT&T Slam Dunk? There you go. All right, a few people, but what I will tell you, even if you probably didn't watch the broadcast, which you should have, because Mac McClung, an unknown dunker, was unbelievable. It was arguably the biggest moment of that whole weekend with Mac McClung in the dunk contest. What we did is we were very thoughtful to say, we recognize most of this room and most of the country is not watching that broadcast. That's just the reality of what we do. So we thought about what could we do as a company to make that broadcast better, to make that social experience better, to make the digital experience better. So kind of leveraging the idea of the ref cam above the rim, we thought, what better way to experience AT&T Slam Dunk than courtside? But not just doing it by yourself, doing it through the lens of the one and only, the big man Shaq Diesel, Shaquille O'Neal, right? So what we did is we partnered up with our friends from Bleacher Report, Warner Brothers, Hearts and Science, Optimum Sports, and we found a way to literally bring the fan courtside with a two-way camera powered by AT&T 5G, where Shaq Diesel was sitting there talking to fans, talking to celebrities, and actually had that on-court view of what Mac McClung did. So that, instead of just talking about it, let's show it to you. You guys play the first clip.
It's time for the AT&T Slam Dunk. Let's get it. Crank. Try to get me Welcome to the
technology to make the fan experience better, so people realize our fast, reliable, secure network is the reason for that kind of unique experience is really cool. And if you can ever leverage celebrity talent like Shaquille O'Neal, always do it, because I will guarantee you'll have no idea what he's going to do, but it's going to be fantastic.
That is dope, that is smart, that is robust. So how do you top all of that? What is the evolution in sports marketing for AT&T? What are you leaning into more? What are you testing next? How is AI coming into play? Tell us a little bit about your roadmap.
Yeah, so the roadmap is changing rapidly, and I'm not going to bore this group again because you guys all understand ad consumption probably better than anyone else in the world. But what we are doing is being really thoughtful and doubling down on the places that we know are successful for our brand. Finding the places where we have failed and not just walking away from those partnerships and platforms, but investigating why they didn't work and making them better. A lot of what we do as a company is really think through how we can be successful with our partners, and we consider people partners because that's what they are. You don't walk away from a partner after one bad year. You don't walk away from a partner after one bad experience. So we have a lot of trust and faith in our agency partners, our publishing partners to really deliver on those experiences. And as we go forward, we're going to do just that. We have a really powerful sports marketing portfolio that we're going to continue to improve on. We're evolving to be very much digitally, socially, in real life led. We're having real conversations about how augmented reality powered by 5G is going to change that fan experience. And frankly, I'm just excited for the fan experience where AT&T Marketing US.
That's so awesome and refreshing, I'm sure, for everyone to hear that in this room especially. So, as it relates to your approach to measurement, I'm sure everyone in this room also probably has FOMO over the kind of brand dollars you get to trade in, but how do you really employ those in sports marketing to know your ROI and to know what that measurement looks like at the end of the day?
Yeah. I get asked about measurement probably more than anything when I come to these events. So I think we're all in that same kind of boat where we all have really killer measurement frameworks that are really well thought out, really scientific, really smart, and none of them are perfect. And we all just have to embrace the fact that none of them are perfect, and that's okay. So what I would say with regards to our measurement framework is we do a really good job across our organization of setting very clear expectations and having really clear goals of what we want to accomplish. Having a really clear and aligned point of view on how we're going to measure those things. And when I say it, it's not in media, it's not in advertising, it's not in marketing. It goes all the way to our finance organization. And anybody in here is a brand marketer. If you're not friends with your finance organization, that is a massive mistake on every level. I have more respect for our finance teams than nearly anybody in our company because they have an extremely challenging job. So as we talk about what we're going to get out of these properties, we're very confident in how we measure them across different components of our framework, but we're also really clear and we over-articulate and we overshare ahead of time, during, and post what went well. We're really honest about what did not go well to build confidence across organizations, and we're really thoughtful about just getting better overall. So we as a company think about what measure means to us. This is not a secret sauce, and I'm very open and I want to hear from a lot of you on how you do it. We think about brand recall, we think about ad recall, we really care about message recall. Message recall matters to us. Once again, everybody here knows AT&T, not a lot of people in here know what we stand for. So message recall is really important. Articulating that through our television commercials, our social display ads, our in-real-life experiential experiences is really important to us to make sure people better understand what our products and services really do. Beyond that, we look at search updates, we look at actual retail traffic, we look at all the different components of what we believe will increase our overall volumes as a company in the future, and we even build into our econometric models what these sponsorships deliver for us. We also have those guardrails to say none of this is 100% right. It's directional to make us better. It's not to prove out the efficacy of the investment, it's to prove out how we can improve those investments going forward.
And what an interesting time to do too. Like you were talking on the phone about, how we all consume sports. We were joking. I have a 16-year-old, so I mostly watch sports and highlights over his shoulder, through YouTube. My parents are arriving today and already called DirecTV to turn the tennis channel back on because, I'm not watching that stuff that way. Like I'm personally probably watching it on my laptop most of the time, even though I have, DirecTV and do watch my yellow jacket. But, outside of that, knowing that you have this like really, kind of like deep embedded, way of speaking to all of these different customers at all times of all ages, how are you picking your next spot? So, what's important to AT&T next? What's the evolution?
Yeah. So the evolution is not provocative, but it's important. So our evolution is to do what we do really well. We have a sports marketing strategy. A sports marketing strategy is inclusive of our DE&I efforts. It's including our support around female athletes and women's sports. I will implore everyone in this room, not as marketers, but as human beings, get involved in female athletics. I'm a proud father of a female athlete. The circular reference we sometimes live in. Female athletes, female leagues don't get the support they need because there are audiences there. Audiences are not there because they don't get the support from big brands like ours at a level that actually helps grow the game. So a couple things that I've seen recently that I have been inspired by. I have no connection to this whatsoever, but Buick did an amazing job this year in the women's Final Four. If anybody saw what Buick did, they had a really good cultural insight that said they know a majority of their owners are females. They know those people care about women's March Madness. So instead of just merchandising their vehicles to fans, they actually invested their advertising dollars to get people to tune into the games, to watch the games, to actually grow the sport. They have an emotional bond with their customers, and they believe in it, and they actually put their money where their mouth is. And we're in that same boat. We're huge supporters, and we have been for a long time, of female athletes and their stories. And I would argue this year's March Madness, the women's March Madness, was a better product and was much more exciting than the men's March Madness tournament, period. So in that 3-week window, which is a critical marketing window for our brand, 24 out of the top 25 telecasts on television were men's March Madness. Does anybody know what the other one telecast was that cracked the top 25?
What the Final Four?
The women's championship game. Exactly right. It was incredible. The game was amazing. It brought in almost 10 million viewers. That is not a niche sport. That is not a fledgling sport. That is a mass media moment in culture that matters. If we were there and it mattered, I give a lot of credit to our friends at Disney and ABC for stepping up and putting the championship game on ABC. Visibility matters in these environments, so we as a company are hugely dedicated to all of our customers, all of our employees, and we make a big investment in female athletics. We went so far as we talked about our brand campaign, Connecting Changes Everything. We launched that campaign in the Women's Final Four. That was not just to make a statement, it meant it because we care, and it meant it because we know the fans were there who we want to speak to. So we truly believe in this. And we've gone so far as the Women's Final Four is in Dallas, we took advantage of that opportunity. Our headquarters is based in Dallas. So we turned a portion of our lobby into an actual celebration, a bit of a museum to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Title IX. So once again, instead of me just talking a bit about it, can we play the second clip so everyone here can see what our lobby looked like during the Women's Final Four?
Probably roll. All right, well, as I said, when we come back, UConn women's head coach Gino Oriana stops by to talk all things Huskies, and at the Women's Final Four in Dallas, NCAA corporate champion AT&T, in partnership with Getty Images and the NCAA, has created a tribute to the power of Title IX. Let's take a look at how connecting changes everything.
AT&T created the NCAA Title IX Showcase because it's the 50th anniversary of Title IX, and we think that's something we're celebrating. As a company that stands for equality, we love shining a spotlight on groups that haven't always received equal treatment. And as a longtime sponsor of women's sports, we felt compelled to showcase the female athletes of the NCAA. We also partnered with Asia Wilson to really promote the women's March Madness brackets. It's our hope that one day in the future, when somebody asks, have you filled out a bracket, that the immediate response is, which one, men's or women's? Our Connecting Changes Everything campaign that we just launched during men's and women's Final Four is connected to who we are as a company. At AT&T, we have been connecting people to greater possibilities for the past 150 years, and it's still at the heart of everything we do.
So shout out to our friends at Paramount and CBS who actually helped us pull that together. So the intent of what we do around a lot of our female sports is not just actually advertising in an insular fashion in those events. What we do is we take a lot of those stories and we help advertising them to bigger audiences who actually don't have visibility typically. So that piece right there, right on Sunday, right on CBS in the afternoon, once again, just to promote what we're doing as a company and how much female athletics means to our communities that we actually do business in.
I love it. So inspiring, and I'm sure something to be so proud of, which is fantastic. Amazing storytelling. Thank you, Scott. Questions before we go to break?
You mentioned recall is super important. I was curious, like how do you measure recall with stuff that Rachel sells back in the out-of-home space?
How do we measure recall and out of home?
Yeah.
The same way we measure recall across all of media. So we do a pretty good job, not perfect, but a pretty good job of measuring every investment we make on a very level playing field with a very similar scale with very similar metrics. So we do look at brand ad message recall across every channel we invest in. It depends on the channel. I mean, sometimes, especially in local media, where it's harder to get high visibility, where it's hard to actually get that longer attention span, we're also very realistic, where we would not necessarily measure an out-of-home board in the middle of Times Square the same way we would a Shack Cam, a Title IX kind of empowerment celebration. So we're very thoughtful about that, but then once again, have goals going in to say, if we expect, based on this investment in out-of-home, that we expect this type of ad recall based on historicals, we'll then measure it against those historicals and do our best to make sure that we're making good investments for our brand, and once again, reaching people wherever they're.
And in partnership, it's changed a lot too. So there are studies now available for recall in the out-of-home space. It's become highly social. So when the creative is, appropriately done to make sure that social is part of the experience, we see the earned media that comes from it. So we also work closely with our partners to make sure that whatever they need to make sure is happening from that piece of their investment, that we're thinking about it holistically. So the medium has come a long way in the last few years too.
What does AT&T stand for?
You know what? That's my favorite question anyone's ever asked me. I don't actually know the answer to that. I'm so embarrassed to say it. Who has Google? Somebody help me out. Where?
American Telegraph. That's it.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Great presentation, first of all, Scott. Your voice has so much charisma. I just wanted to start with that. But secondly, I'm really impressed by sort of like the upgrades that you guys made to enhance the consumer experience at AT&T, specifically the Shack Cam and the Rec Cam and the above the rim. And I'm just really curious about specifically how you chose those three sort of like elements to add. I'm wondering if it's a combination of like AI or market research or user feedback. I just think that those three things are so niche and like kind of just super applicable and very like Gen Z. So I'm wondering how you landed on that.
Yeah. So trial and error, to be honest with you. So I think we had some really good audience insights of what our broadcast partners, our social partners are saying their fans want to see. We go out, we execute those, and we do real-time surveys and get a read from people to say, what do you want to see again? That to me is the most powerful way to see if something's effective. Not if you remember AT&T necessarily, not if you like the experience, but do you want to see this again? Is there something else you would rather see? Once again, being somewhat vulnerable, the ref cam idea, it's really cool, it's kind of clunky. You got a grown man running up and down the sidelines with a camera that's on his pocket. It is not the most elegant 4K experience you've ever seen in your entire life. So we're trying to make that better, right? So I think we do all these things, and if fans want to see more of them, we will definitely do more of them. And it actually leads to a really good point too. So we do these really cool tech-powered examples of different angles for cameras. Our customers have also said they like to be appreciated, which sounds really obvious, right? So we care about that too. So in the MBAs, we do all these kind of tech-forward examples, not just for our current customers, but for future customers. We partner with the NBA, and for every dunk in the Eastern and Western Conference Finals, we donated 5 Gs. Yeah, 5 Gs. To a big pool of money, and if you are a current customer, all you have to do, you have to log on to the website. This was not a contest, this was not a sweepstakes. Log on to the website, put in your information, we validate your customer, and we give you $50 in the NBA store. Just because, once again, we care about our customers, we get the fandom, we want to be part of that experience. So through the tech kind of enablements, through ways that we're just appreciate our customers, through merchandise, trying to do our best to learn from those experiences, listen to our customers, listen to fans, and improve the program.
I think I'd like to reframe this and say immersive, the power of immersive sports marketing. So incredible job by you guys, truly.
When you think about sports marketing, do you include esports in that equation?
Yes, 100%. So we as a fiber and 5G company love esports. The people who actually are hardcore gamers love our products, so there's such a natural kind of symbiotic relationship with those. So we didn't go too far into esports today, but I would love to spend an hour talking about our esports program because our brand, once again, naturally fits into that environment. If you are a hardcore gamer, we work with a guy named Tim the Tab Man. If you guys know Tim, he's a really unique voice, and he's got a hardcore following. So we partner up with him a lot, not just to tell our products and service stories, but to power his experiences. Once again, esports is here. So going back to our NBA example in esports, we're huge proponents in NBA 2K23. So the NBA 2K League is a big part of what we do. If you're a gamer, you don't have to watch one broadcast, you don't have to go to one game, but if you play NBA 2K23, in the My Career mode, your phone, where you communicate through the game, powered by AT&T 5G. If you're playing that game midway through the season, when you go to the All-Star break, you're going into AT&T Slam Dunk. So the idea of esports is so unique and interesting, since such a unique group of people are so passionate, we make sure a lot of our in real life experiences also translate really well into the video game experience as well.
One more question? Who's got it? Gentleman in front.
Okay, Andre, Higher Evolution. My question is 2 parts. One, are there any emerging sports or anything that you guys are getting into? Like, what's the next evolution of sport that you guys are getting into? Number 2, who do you have winning the NBA?
That's a good question. All right. So I'm going to save the second one for last because I'm very excited with the NBA Finals. So I think as we think about the evolution of sports, we think about it a lot. We've looked at pickleball. I know everybody has looked at pickleball. Everybody's kind of looked at like the evolution of what golf will be, right? So Rory McIlroy is out there with kind of an E-version of what golf is going to transform into. We are making big bets into the platforms and the properties that we currently have. In esports, that's likely our next big bet. Even though that's already here, that is growing rapidly, especially when it comes to gaming on a mobile device. So gaming on a mobile device is a big bet for us as we go forward, so expect to see us there. With regards to your second question, I am from Denver, Colorado. I am a hardcore NBA fan. My beloved Denver Nuggets have never been to the NBA Finals. This is my favorite team of all time. So, of course, I am going to pick the Denver Nuggets in 6.